In local matters, early voting begins next week in the race to decide the Democratic nominee for mayor of New York City. The ballot opens on June 12th. Early voting will last through June 20th. The deadline to request an absentee ballot online or through the mail is June 15th. Primary day itself is June 22nd. It is too late to register, however, if you haven't already done so. The latest polling shows a new frontrunner in this tightly contested primary. Former Sanitation Commissioner Kathryn Garcia is now the leader, riding a wave of excitement from her New York Times endorsement. The poll's ranked choice voting simulation shows that she would win in a three-way battle between Eric Adams and Andrew Yang. Those three are among the 8 major candidates who are seeking the nomination. All three are moderates, as New York's progressive hopefuls have faltered in recent weeks. Alyssa Katz is a deputy editor for the city, and she joins me now from Brooklyn. Hi, Alyssa. Great to see you. So, based on what you're seeing on the ground, is enthusiasm heating up for Kathryn Garcia, or is this poll an outlier?
I do think enthusiasm is heating up, although I don't know if the word enthusiasm applies to any of the candidates in this mayoral race. I think a lot of voters are going through a kind of process of elimination, looking at a city that's in a crisis, related to the coronavirus as the former epicenter of the virus in the United States, the economic shocks, the abandonment of so much of Manhattan's business district. All of that is very real. And I think voters are looking at the field of candidates and saying, okay, who can lead in a crisis? And Garcia has made that very much the brand of her campaign, since she has, in addition to being the head of the sanitation department, also been the kind of fix-it woman for Mayor de Blasio on public housing, on feeding people during coronavirus, on lead paint in housing. She's marketing herself as the can-do woman for this election.
And it's interesting because all three leading candidates in this race are moderates, but this is a city that has certainly shown its progressive colors, with Representatives Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Jamal Bowman winning high-profile primaries and the state legislature moving to the left in recent years. Why in this particular race do you think the moderate candidates are getting the most attention from voters? Does it have anything to do with, the city feeling that outgoing Mayor Bill de Blasio, who ran on a progressive platform, are they not so happy with his performance?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. And I think there's a couple of answers to it. And I do think that, one, you have seen progressive candidates really prevail in these very small turnout legislative races, or a slightly bigger turnout in the case of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but where you had incumbents who had been in place for many years, and the neighborhoods had really changed and become more immigrant, younger, more diverse, and the old school politicians couldn't really keep up and were very vulnerable. It's different with a mayoral race, even in a Democratic primary, which is so likely to be decisive in the general election, where you have to really speak to a much broader swath of the city. And I think there is certainly some frustration with Mayor de Blasio, who really did govern around a very, very idealistic kind of philosophy of what government could do, often delivered on promises such as for universal pre-K. But when it came to big issues for New Yorkers like affordable housing, when it came to dealing with these very complicated questions around policing and crime at a time when crime is going up, I think a lot of New Yorkers are trying to figure out how can we, make policing fairer and more just, but also keep our neighborhoods safe. I think there's a lot of concerns on people's minds right now around what does the future look like, and can we continue to elect people who are going to say the right things, but voters might not be sure if they can actually, execute on their ideals.
Right. There may be also a certain amount of economic insecurity going into this, post-pandemic era, and people may be feeling a little bit more, I don't know if pro-business is the right word, but feeling a little bit more like they need to see those shops fill up again, and the city have that sort of economic engine that a lot of people are pointing to, that perhaps a moderate candidate might be able to I don't know, get going a little bit faster, perhaps. But the latest progressive campaign in the city to implode is that of Diane Morales. So again, these progressive campaigns have sort of made it difficult for a progressive voter to stick around because they've keep shooting themselves in the foot. Why is this campaign now facing backlash from her own staff?
Yeah, it's a really unusual situation, right? Diane Morales is of the major candidates for mayor, the one who's kind of the most ideologically identified with the left, has really talked about bringing in a kind of things like new kinds of public housing run by the community. Talked about worker cooperatives. Talked about talk about idealism, very very idealistic campaign. And so, therefore, it really attracted a lot of campaign staff who shared that kind of idealism. And that's really what tripped Morales up. It sounds like from what we've heard reported in our outlet and others that, a lot of staffers were concerned about sort of management styles. There were some concerns about pay differentials between certain workers and others, and a lot of the kinds of things that progressives really want to fight for, workers' rights, better pay, kind of came home to roost within the campaign and ended up with workers forming a union after certain campaign staff had quit. Then the workers who had led the union organizing drive being fired by Morales, who then said, well, it had nothing to do with their union organizing drive, but of course the organizers are not so sure. And so what it's amounted to is that a significant portion of her staff is currently basically on strike, last we heard, and it's really clearly just weeks away from the election, really been a blow to the campaign. But Morales says that this shows that she can weather adversity, that dealing with this kind of conflict and difference is sort of part of what leadership is, and she's saying she's not letting it faze her.
All right, well, we will see. The clock is ticking. Alyssa, Katz, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate it.
Thank you so much.